Let's start. As a quick introduction, Inmobi enables consumers to discover new products and services by providing contextual and curated recommendations on mobile devices. Through our revolutionary discovery and advertising platform, developers, merchants, and brands can engage mobile consumers globally. We have been recognized by Fast Company as one of 2016's most innovative companies in the world and have a reach of over 1.56 billion unique mobile devices worldwide. In today's webinar, uh, we regularly host a series of events, meetups, webinars across the globe to share best practices and learnings. In today's webinar on how successful brand marketers combine the power of mobile data science and creatives, we will be talking about creating ad campaigns that are relevant and contextual so that your brand is discovered at the most appropriate moment. We will also understand how to combine mobile data sciences with innovative creatives to enable discovery, engagement, and loyalty for brands. Joining me for today's webinar is Tanvi Kapoor, Director of Global Product Marketing at Inmobi, who will be covering the first part of the webinar. Later, I will also be sharing a few case studies of how we have made data sciences and creatives come alive at Inmobi. Just as Tanvi joins us, I would request all participants to please respond to a poll question.
Thanks, Supriya. So guys, I think you should be able to see a poll question on your GoToWebinar screen. Please select one of the options. The question is, do you include mobile in your 360-degree marketing plan? Your options are yes, no, or not applicable. Great. I see some participation. 77, almost 80% of the people have voted. Just another 20 seconds to go. For those who have just joined, please answer the quick poll on your screens. Do you include mobile in your 360-degree marketing plan? Your options are yes, no, and not applicable. All right. We are closing the poll now. And the results of the poll are 50% of you voted yes, 24% voted no, and 26% voted not applicable. This poll very much reflects the reality of the situation today. While in the Western markets, mobile has become an integral part of the 360-degree marketing plan, in the Asian markets, there is still a huge gap between the distribution of user time on different media and the spread of marketing budgets across these media. Countries like India, Vietnam, Philippines, Singapore actually represent a dichotomy of the user base. You have a strata of the population who are still living hand to mouth, yet form a bulk of the population. And you also have people who have adopted smartphones as an essential household item. For these people, mobile devices represent more than 50% of the time spent on different media. We are actually talking about 7.5 to 9 hours spent every day on mediums such as radio, TV, newspapers, tablets, mobiles, and laptops. So a good 4 hours are actually spent browsing sites and apps on mobile devices for entertainment necessity as well as out of boredom. This webinar attempts to shed light on the myriad capabilities of the mobile device, how to draw inferences from the data signals which are readily available, and give you examples of how the mobile has been leveraged in some of the Asian markets successfully. It is important to remember that data and creative are two sides of the same coin, complementary partners, and you may even call them yin and yang of a successful campaign. The mobile device is an extremely personal accessory. As compared to other forms of medium like the TV or even the desktop or laptop, the mobile is always on and carried on person at all times. This means that it is in a unique position to help you reach the mobile user when they are in the right context for your product, such as in the vicinity of a shopping mall. Mind you, I'm not talking about location alone. because location without other aspects of the user is more dangerous than useful. Imagine targeting all people in the vicinity of a mall with ads for a women's cosmetics line. These ads are going to be wasted impressions without taking into account the demographics and preferences of the users. Are these are these users males or females? Do they even have the spending capability to buy your cosmetic brand? So let's see what are the different data signals we get from the mobile device. At Inmobi, we actually divide them into 5 parts. The first, obviously, is location, the main USP of the mobile device. The other data signals include demographic, technographic data, apographic data, and user intent or preferences. We'll go into each one of these in detail now. Let's start with technographic data. What's technographic data? Technographic information such as the device model, operating system, OS version reveal a lot about the user when combined with basic information like the country of residence. Is the user an early adopter? How old is the device? When was it launched and since when has the user had it? What are the capabilities of the device? Does it have a gyroscope, accelerometer, or a front camera? What could we infer about the user's household income profile or job status based on the price of the device? Could they be tempted to upgrade their phone if they've had it for long? What's the preferred language of the user and what are they most comfortable with? The language setting is a great tool to identify between natural citizens and expatriates. Granted, English is often the most common language setting for countries like India. But for the Southeast Asian countries like Korea, Japan, China, Singapore, the language setting can be useful for identifying people visiting other countries in the tourist season. So, how have we leveraged technographic data at Inmobi? We are currently running a campaign for promoting the new Samsung S7 Edge phone in the United Arab Emirates. The campaign actually targets Android phone users who have owned their phones for a significant period of time and who are currently within a 3-kilometer radius of the Dubai Mall, since there is a shop which is running a special offer for Etisalat users. So, this actually combines both device age, the operating system version, the carrier that the user is on, basically identifying all Etisalat users, as well as location to identify people who are within vicinity of the point of interest, which is the Dubai Mall. Another example of technographic data is identifying the device capabilities and building creatives which leverage these capabilities for both targeting as well as building relevance. Using these capabilities, you can actually make the ad interactive rather than passive. For example, we ran a campaign for the popular Netflix show Narcos, which consisted of a vertical video followed by rich media engagement. Shaking the phone to one side showed bullets falling, while the other side showed silver falling. So that is the creative that you see over here on the screen, silver or red or lead. Sorry. The engagement rates on this creative were phenomenal. Next, we come to apographic data. Apographic information such as the apps the user has installed over their lifetime and how much time they spend with different categories of these apps helps us understand the preferences of the user. It also gives us a very good indication of the life stage the user is in. Are they using pregnancy apps? Are they interested in games for toddlers or quizzes for teens? By keeping a track of the different ads that the user clicks on, we are able to maintain a history of their interests and intent at various points of time. Have they recently clicked on an ad for an automobile, which means they could be in market for automobiles? App interactions combined with location also help in assessing the current location of the user. Are they at work or at home? If you observe yourself, your usage of different apps varies very widely based on where you are. When you're at home, your sessions tend to be longer. Uh, when you are at the workplace, your sessions tend to be shorter and are generally characterized by Wi Fi usage. This combined with location signals, for example, is the ad request coming from a central business central business district area helps us infer whether the user is at their workplace or at home. Sorry. Next, we come to demographic signals. Demographic signals are harder to come by than the other signals and require collaboration with the publisher to share this information. Inmobi sources first party demographic information directly from the publisher. This is based on self reported age and gender data given by the user. So we do take it with a pinch of salt. We also infer the household income and ethnicity of the user based on the areas they reside in. The alternate route for registering demographic data comes for understanding of the apographic signals. There are some apps which are inherently preferred by one gender or the other. Sports apps like Cricinfo are most likely to be used by males. Similarly, female fashion apps like Limeroad or Woonik are going to be used by females. Apps like games, on the other hand, are much more difficult to diagnose. Candy Crush Saga, when it was launched, was primarily played by females, but today it is played by males as well. In such a scenario, you are dependent on the publisher sharing their insights based on play patterns. An example of using demographic information is a campaign that we ran for SK2, a very popular and premium cosmetic brand which aims to target females who are on the upper side of the income bracket. Demographic signals like gender are combined with the location of their residence by taking into account the premium residential areas for identifying the target users for this brand and serving rich creatives. And finally, we come to location data. Location signals are registered every time the user sends an ad request from an app which has location permissions. Now, I'm talking about apps like Ola, Uber, and sometimes games like Words with Friends, which require your location to find accurate partners for you. As you can imagine, such apps are few and far between. Location is a very premium resource for marketers, and publishers are also aware of this premium. They often try to simulate a location signal where there is none, such as trying to map the IP address to a location. Now, this turns out to be very inaccurate at times. For example, the Wi Fi in the Inmobi office in Bangalore in India actually maps to an IP in Singapore. So, yes, we do end up seeing ads from other ad networks which are targeted for the Singaporean population, which is why we are strong advocates of using the lat long signals provided by GPS data to infer the location and the location history. We end up discarding almost 65% of location data because it turns out to be fraudulent or bogus. So, why is location so important? Location actually helps us infer the hyperlocal conditions of the user. What is the temperature where they are at? Should we show them an ad for a hot coffee or a cold coffee from the same brand? Do we see ad requests coming from different states or countries often? In which case, could we infer that they are a frequent traveler, maybe a consultant? Location data can also be used to identify users who are frequent visitors at any point of interest, such as an airport, a university, or even a specific QSR chain like McDonald's or KFC. Do we see these users around university areas during the weekdays and not at weekends? Or do we see them around university areas at all days of the week? Based on this, we could infer whether they live around the university or do they actually attend the university for work or study. Having a mapping of the different places of interest is important to be able to do this at scale. There are multiple companies which actually offer this as an expertise. Factual and, of course, the Google Places API are the most popular options. So, location need not be used only for doing geo-targeting at that specific point of time. It can also be used to record the location history of the user and identifying the audience based on their behavior in the brick and mortar world. For example, we are currently running a campaign for a dog food company by targeting users who were specifically seen in and around a dog talent show which was held in London last month. So we actually go back in time to figure out these specific places of interest, identify users who were seen around this place of interest, and then build a segment to provide relevant targeting to advertisers. So as you can see, the mobile is a powerhouse of data signals. You just need to be able to capture these signals and use data sciences to infer the right context about the user. When combined together, these signals help us map the user's journey in the real world of brick and mortar. I'll now hand over to Supriya to actually walk us through some case studies, successful campaigns which have been run in the Asian markets, leveraging all of these data signals, as well as give you an example of rich creatives which can be used to engage your audience.
Thank you so much, Tanvi, for walking us through these deep insights and also sharing some examples of how to leverage location and other signals into the creatives that we've been working on. So, as Tanvi mentioned, I would now like to walk you through a few campaigns which have successfully leveraged data and relevant creatives for engaging with users. The first example I'm going to walk you through is Sunsilk. So the context was as follows. Sunsilk, which is Unilever's top hair care brand, wanted to elevate themselves as a very premium brand in the overcrowded hair care market in Singapore. Now, they had organized weekend pop up salons all over four specific locations in Singapore and were looking to drive sign-ups to these salons. At these pop up salons, women could get free makeovers and experience hairstyling sessions with a popular youth influencer, Naomi Neo. The challenge for Inmobi was to geo target young female crowd close to the pop up salons and also get these users to visit the store. This was a perfect opportunity to fuse the power of both data sciences and creatives. Let me walk you through the user experience. So what we did was that we created a rich media mobile ad unit that popped up when a user was on her phone checking out apps. The ad unit actually prompted users to visit the Sunsilk pop-up salon where they could get their free hair makeover and meet Naomi. When users clicked on the ad, it expanded into a rich media ad unit that perfectly mimicked a call from Naomi Neo, the Sunsilk brand ambassador. And when users answered the call, Naomi, through a pre recorded message, asked them to join her at the predetermined pop up salon locations in Singapore. So if you really look at the depth of this campaign, users could engage in multiple ways with the ad unit. They could sign up for queue breaking hair appointments. There was a social element built into the campaign as well, where users could actually check out the Instagram feeds of the campaign on which other users were posting pictures of hairstyling images. And of course, users experienced a simulated phone call from Naomi and also got an opportunity to meet her. So, as one would expect, this campaign was actually a smashing success. Let me walk you through some of the specific results. Out of the 25,000 people who were geo targeted, more than 10,000 women actually accepted Naomi's mock call and listened to her message. This number is clearly outperforming typical engagement metrics vis a vis other campaigns in the region. In addition, more than 1,000 women signed up for the makeovers at the pop up salons, and nearly 3,000 women checked out the campaign's Instagram feed. Also, if you look at engagement metrics, users actually interacted with the rich media ad unit for more than 35 seconds, truly learning more about the Sunsilk pop up salon and their value proposition. In addition, as part of an ad effectiveness study which was conducted, the likelihood to recommend the Sunsilk brand saw the most uplift after this campaign, increasing by more than 200%. So, in summary, the campaign successfully grew top of mind awareness and other persuasion metrics, indicating that mobile, if comprehensively and appropriately leveraged as a channel, can be instrumental in driving key brand metrics and brand messages amongst consumers. And last but not least, I also wanted to share that Inmobi actually won the best campaign for a mobile event for this campaign in Singapore at the Mobix Awards earlier in 2016 this year. To showcase some of this experience, I have a short video which captures the essence of the campaign, which I'm going to play now. I'm hoping that all of you have good network connections and this will play smoothly for you. Awareness, the recall of Sunsilk brand in the crowded hair care market in Singapore. To differentiate themselves as a fun and youthful brand, Sunsilk set up pop-up salons where young women could get free makeovers and experience hairstyling sessions with Naomi Neo, Singapore's top youth influencer. Unilever's campaign objective was to drive awareness of the pop-up salon events and drive sign-ups for hairstyling sessions among young women. Research shows that mobile is a ubiquitous medium for women in Singapore for information and social networking. Moreover, Sunsilk was looking to target women on the go and close to the pop-up salons. Singapore has the highest smartphone penetration, with 84% of Singaporean women using smartphones. Mobile, therefore, had to be at the center of the communication strategy for Sunsilk in Singapore. Using location-based geo-targeting technology, a rich media ad unit popped up on the user's phone when she was close to the pop-up salon. The ad unit then simulated a phone call from Naomi Neo, encouraging users to visit the pop-up salon and sign up for their hair appointments online.
Hi, want to get a free hair makeover? Join me at the Sunset Pop-Up Salon happening in 4 locations around Singapore. See you!
Another innovative feature was that users could check out the brand's Instagram feed and great hairstyling images posted by other users with hashtag Sunsilk Good Times. The campaign was a resounding success as Unilever was able to reach out to relevant users and drive intended sign-ups to the pop-up salon. Over 10,000 women accepted Naomi's pre-recorded call. More than 9,000 participated in the pop-up salon, and over 3,000 women checked out the campaign's Instagram feed. The campaign helped Sunsilk overtake competitor brands to become the most preferred shampoo among a female audience. Brand awareness increased by nearly 70%. Brand preference rose by 93%. Likelihood to recommend the Sunsilk brand increased by nearly 200%. And there was a 22% lift in purchase intent amongst women who had viewed the campaign. Unilever helps young women to be confident with their hair and have selfie-ready hair once they leave their doorstep. Okay, I hope that most of you got to hear this clearly. For the next video that I'll play, I'll also just request that do crank up the volumes on your laptops just in case they are medium. We'll also be sharing the links to these videos with all of you on a message over here and post the webinar as well. So just in case you couldn't hear this clearly, we will be sharing a link of these videos as well. Okay, so the next example I want to talk through is Dyson. This is a very interesting example for those of you who are based in Singapore and are familiar with the haze in Singapore. So in September 2015, Singapore was actually coated in a thick layer of haze, and it was at this time that Dyson was launching its new air purifier fan, the Pure Cool. As many of you would know, during the haze, Singapore sometimes goes into a panic mode, and Singaporeans are constantly checking PSI levels on their phones. Dyson saw this as an opportunity to drive awareness of the Pure Cool purifier through direct association with PSI levels and air purity. The challenge was to convince the health conscious users in Singapore of the superior capabilities of the product without actually being able to demonstrate the capabilities to users. As one would imagine, pure air really cannot be seen. So, with Singaporeans hooked to their smartphones, mobile was possibly the best and only choice to capture their attention. Dyson understood that mobile advertising would enable their messaging to be hyper relevant during the haze. So, to walk you through a little bit more about how we went about this. Now, number one, due to the product's premium pricing, Inmobi used its geo-targeting capabilities to target affluent users in Singapore within the proximity of the haze attack. And again, if I walk you through the user experience, the ads appeared in the form of banners or interstitials. When a user clicked the ad, it would actually reveal the user's exact location on Google Maps and with real time PSI levels in that area as well. The user then had two options. They could click the Get Directions button, which would direct them to Google Maps, where they could find directions to the closest Pure Cool retailer. This was that, okay, I'm interested, and I want to go and visit this store. So immediately I can see where the closest retailer is and I can, hop across or take the MRT or a cab to get to the store. And this was a very simple tactic used to nudge users to actually visit the store. The other option that users had was to click the No More button. On clicking No More, the users would be redirected to Dyson Pure Cool website and the exact web page, which detailed more information about the product and its benefits. So in this example, you can see that one is that, okay, I've got completely interested and I want to go and visit the store and actually see a demo of the product and maybe even purchase it. Or, okay, this is interesting, I got to see PSI levels, let me find out a little bit more about the product. Both of these options were possible. So the Inmobi ads helped the audience stay informed of air purity levels and also discover ways of protecting themselves with Dyson's air purifier. These kind of rich media ad units, with these kind of rich media ad units, Dyson was able to easily reach users, grab their attention, and also get them interested in the product during the period of the campaign. So the campaign results were very, very encouraging. Through the campaign, Dyson's Pure Cool became the most popular brand of air purifiers among Singaporeans, with 91% of those surveyed demonstrating a keen interest to buy a Pure Cool during and beyond the haze. On top of this, 1.5 million users were regularly kept up to date with PSI levels. And out of these 1.5 million users, more than 25,000 actually wanted to see how the product works as well. So, those many visits to the web page of Dyson Pure Cool. And again, a study with surveyed respondents, 85% agreed with the statement that Dyson protects me from the haze, indicating a strong positive association with the brand and the value it adds to consumers. This was exactly what Dyson's goal was at the beginning of the campaign as well. So, in summary, the campaign successfully grew top of mind awareness, indicating that it was well branded and connected well with the audience as well. I'm going to share another short video right now, which helps to make this campaign come alive. You'll actually be able to see how the ad unit worked. Please do crank up the volumes on your machines. When the haze struck in September 2015, Dyson wanted Singapore to know its purifier was the best. All eyes were on PSI levels. This was a clear opportunity for awareness. The challenge? Adapt messaging in real time and at scale as the haze unfolded. Mobile was key to adaptivity, and dynamic messaging, the chance to ride the haze. Protect yourself from the haze appeared on mobile apps around Singapore. This message adapted to show PSI levels in real time alongside Dyson's purifier. Whatever Singapore was doing on mobile apps, the message was clear. Dyson was innovative, Dyson was there to protect, Dyson's purifier could be trusted. Intrigued users interacted to find out more, opening a map guiding them to their nearest store. 85% agreed this adaptive approach helped protect them from the heat. 91% showed interest in purchasing a Pure Cool during and beyond the period. Most importantly, Dyson sales quadrupled and the need for a Pure Cool had extended to all year long.
Thanks, Supriya. Those were two really great examples of leveraging data along with creatives to serve targeted, relevant, and rich ads to the users. So, what does it take to actually serve data driven immersive ad formats? There are three things that you need to keep in mind. support for different ad formats. I'm talking about being able to support standard specs like VAST for video, MRAID for rich media, as well as permissions from the publisher or the app for accessing the device features. For example, the creatives that you saw leveraged the Google Maps API, which actually requires data signals. So the creative itself leveraged the location signal, not just for targeting, but also as a feature of the creative. The second thing that you need is data science systems to ingest and process these different data signals. Obviously, that goes without saying. And the third is a large scale of users and robust systems to optimize on the user experience. You need a huge user base to collect these different data signals, draw a baseline of normal behavior on the mobile for different zones or areas, cities or countries, and then identify device IDs who actually show a higher preference for specific categories of apps and ads, so that you can leverage those appographic signals in a much better way. With that, we actually come to the end of the webinar. We'll now open the floor for questions. You can also see our email addresses on the screen. So if you had to leave early and can't stay back for the Q&A, please feel free to drop us a note. We'll be most happy to get back to you. So let's look at the questions. I have a question from Tarun. He says he's a senior data scientist and is interested in knowing how do you ascertain the relevancy of mobile as a channel for a particular campaign? All right. So I think you're asking a broader question over here as to should you include mobile in your marketing campaign at all? This will obviously depend upon the audience that you're trying to reach. In the first place, does your audience even engage with the mobile device? If it does, how much time do you think they spend on the mobile device? Do they have feature phones, in which case you might be better off doing an SMS campaign or a telemarketing campaign? Or do they actually tend to use smartphones, in which case you might want to do mobile display advertising on mobile web and mobile apps? Should you do they What kind of apps do you think they use? Are they going to use primarily Facebook, in which case you're better off doing just social media marketing? Or given the way apps are used today and the different categories of even social apps are used today, you have apps like Hike in India, you have Tango, you have BBM, not on the device but as BBM Messenger. So, what are the different apps or mobile websites that your users generally tend, or your target audience generally tend to visit? And then, based on that, you can actually take a call on whether mobile makes sense for your target audience.
So there's another question which is specific to the Dyson campaign. That was this ad served only when the PSI levels went up, or over a few days? But basically, the question is whether this was whether this was manually scheduled or automatically when PSI levels crossed a certain threshold. No, this wasn't automatic when PSI levels crossed a certain threshold. It was a phase when PSI levels were only high, so it was manual. There is another question which is asking that do all publishers share their user data with you? I'm asking Tanvi to respond to this.
So, as you can imagine, user data is a very premium resource. In fact, if the publisher is collecting user data by themselves, such as age, gender, they may be willing to share it with us depending upon the value that we can show them for the user data. On the other hand, if they are themselves leveraging third party data, for example, if they are using a Facebook login for asking users to register on their app, then they're actually legally not allowed to share such data with third party companies. So the probability of a publisher sharing user data completely depends upon the value that you can provide to them for that data. Some publishers are open to sharing user data to be used across all campaigns, and some of them are very specific about leveraging that user data only for targeting on their apps. So we have actually seen a case of multiple types. Okay, we have a campaign here, question here asking if we are running a political campaign, would you recommend a person to use mobile marketing via Inmobi for this purpose? This is actually a very relevant question, especially given that the recent marketing tactics for all political parties actually includes mobile and social media aggressively. In fact, if I remember right, when the Prime Minister Modi actually came on board, we ran a lot of political campaigns for the BJP party when the elections were held. In fact, we are currently running political marketing campaigns even in the US right now, given all the hoo-ha around, Trump and Hillary Clinton. So yes, mobile should be included as an integral part of political marketing campaigns, given that a majority of your target users, especially the ones who belong to the working class or the middle class, tend to engage a lot more on mobile than they did on the television.
We'll continue taking questions. In parallel, we are also asking a question to all of the audience that, we regularly conduct such webinars. And if you could share what are the topics you would like Inmobi to cover in future webinars, if you can share your feedback. So we'll continue with the questions from the audience with respect to this webinar as well.
Okay, the next question that we have is your examples were centered on the Singapore market. Would you be able to provide customized solutions to a US based service? The answer is definitely yes. In fact, we have run several such campaigns in the US as well. For example, we ran a campaign for McDonald's over multiple quarters, spanning across literally 1.5 years, where we leveraged the time of day to show different types of food packages for the users. For example, we showed like cold coffee in the evening and the happy meal during lunch hours, along with directions to the closest McDonald's store to drive footfalls to these stores. And we actually saw, I believe, a 30% increase in footfalls during the duration of the campaign. Okay. Another common question that we get is what role did you play in the presented case studies? Just the media buy and design, or the campaign planning, designing, and execution? So, our methodology of working with agencies varies based on our engagement with the agency. In some cases, the agency depends on us completely to come up with creative concepts. In some cases, we work collaboratively with the agency to identify what are their objectives and what kind of mobile advertising creatives would actually make sense. For example, if you remember the Sunsilk Singapore campaign, the intention over there was to drive signups and footfalls to the pop-up salons. So they already had a tie-up with the celebrity, and then we worked with them collaboratively to identify the creative, which was to simulate a call from the celebrity and then drive people to the pop-up salon. In fact, in most cases, the agency generally asks us to leverage our best practices from across the globe to identify what creative would serve their purpose and execute that. The creative itself is designed by the Inmobi Creative Services team and delivered by the Inmobi Ad Network.